TLDW, the game is fun. The game is really fun, actually. Yo, Ultimate Angelo, and today I'm going to just kind of go over the fact that, I got into the CrossWorlds Beta. I was lucky enough to get a code sent to me by SEGA and try out the game firsthand. And B, just kind of go over my generalized thoughts of the game and its state right now. What I played, what I experienced, how I feel about everything, as in much detail as I can remember. Kind of been sitting on it for a little bit because I've been wanting to process the feels. I ain't really watched anybody else's thoughts and all that type of stuff on the game and what they played, because I wanted my feelings to be like as authentic as they can be, while also like letting the hype die down for myself a little bit, so I could be as transparent as I can be about what I played. So yeah, again, if the video turns out, TLDW, too long, didn't watch, the game is fun. The game is really fun. And to even put a little bit more of an interesting spin that I'll elaborate a little bit more on later, I know the very popular thing coming into this game's announcement and all this other type of stuff and the hype around it was, oh wow, we got the next Mario Kart killer and, Mario Kart is dead, yada yada yada. No, I actually think this game is shaping up to be a greater purpose than that. So, this will have no script, as again, just kind of going through the footage. I'm watching the footage right now, and just thinking on, again, my experiences and what I felt. So the first thing that came to mind whenever I was playing CrossWorlds is the game is gorgeous. Like, this is a really, really beautiful game. Graphics wise, art style wise, it's really just nice thing to look at. Interesting stages that we had in the beta. I believe there was like about 5 of them that we could choose, and then 4 CrossWorlds that we could go to. I'll get that more sorted out while I go back through editing. But yeah, really nice game to look at. Very, very beautiful, very bright, very colorful, super fun. Graphics top notch in my opinion. This is some really good looking Sonic game, and plus the animations of the characters and everything like that, and the animation physics also look amazing in this game. So in that department, UI also very good. Not too nothing confusing that you're looking at here and all that type of stuff. It's solid. Everything is pretty damn solid from what I saw in the graphics and the UI department. Nothing to worry about there. And I guess to squeeze on a little bit more of the music of the game, it was okay. It was like mostly okay. I can't necessarily say there are too many memorable tracks necessarily, which, feels a little bit weird about Sonic, but I think, kind of figuring out the flow of things. Again, this is only the beta, so there's only a couple of music tracks that we did hear. Of the ones that we did hear, I have to say Wonder Museum actually probably ended up being, at least if I remember if that's what it's called, Wonder Museum was my favorite track and had my favorite music. It was just gorgeous too. Like, Water Palace was probably the prettiest stage so far, but Wonder Museum overall was my favorite stage that I played in the beta. Loved it. Picked it every time that it popped up, or at least tried to. So anyway, getting off track is probably gonna happen a lot because no script again. But yeah, graphically very beautiful, very gorgeous game. Eye candy everywhere. What do I want to talk about second? Because I have a lot to say. I can sing this game's praises all day, and I can also give my bits of complaints. Maybe I'll do a mix of both. I'll mix them in here. So, to start with, a complaint that I did have about this game was kind of the feel of everything. And I've talked to one person, actually 2 people, about this, and I don't necessarily know how to put my exact feelings on, man, I almost came in first on my first game, fuck. But I don't know how to put my exact feelings on the feel of this game into words that make sense. Because, like, what I want to use is, like, nothing feels weighted. Like, and again, that's the part where I get kind of mixed up at how to describe what is the lack of weight that I'm talking about. And it's simply just like, again, you drift, and I think it's like a lack of momentum between actions where you're drifting, and say you start your drift and you let go of the drift to kind of, or not the drift, you let go of the acceleration to kind of get like a sharper turn on your drift and more control and everything like that. And that shit goes from like 0 to 100. Like, it's just, as soon as you let go of the acceleration to make an adjusted turn, you're just zooming, and it's like, it's not like an ease into it. It's an instant change, and it kind of messes up like getting turns down, getting corners down, and getting the drift angle that you properly wanted, because there's no holdback or there's no momentum shift. It's all just super instant. And then boosting also kind of feels like there's no weight to it again. It's just like everything on this game feels almost on ice and lightweight. Well, I say almost everything. The things that you don't think would feel that way do, and the things that you think wouldn't feel that way absolutely do not. Or the things that you think would feel that way do not. Because, normal turning and stuff like that, that kind of feels a little stunted. Now, granted, throughout my first day of playing, I did only use Sonic, and I think like moderate modifications to his kart, and he doesn't have like the best handling because most of his crap is speed and all that type of stuff. So maybe that was more of a handling issue. But even with other characters that I did play eventually, it still kind of felt like, controls without drifting felt more stiff than I believe they should have, and then controls while drifting felt far too fucking loose, and there was no middle ground. So like playing the game didn't necessarily feel as good as I think it should have. And it could just be me. It could just be me. It could be a skill issue of some type. But again, playing the game didn't really. It felt a little awkward at times because it felt like either far too responsive or not responsive at all. Now that is not to say that it felt absolutely disgusting, because no, there was a learning curve to it, but once you kind of learned how to handle it, it functioned out just fine. Everything turned out just fine. But it was definitely a thing at first that was a little more troubling to come across and get used to. Let me see. Did I win first that one? Oh, I think I did. Second game in first. Let's go. But anyway. So now to bounce back on a positive though. Character and customization. Really vast. Really solid in this game. We only had, I think, about... I don't know the exact number of characters that we did have to work with. They gave us, some of the usuals and sprinkled in a couple of unusuals in there. But, each character having their individual stats is great. And then, of course, your characters are not locked to a specific weight class and kart class. You can, mix and mash and interchange those parts. So that's great, It allows for a far deeper customization than what you would, feel like you would generally get out of most other kart racers. And it's really cool to have, again, no class lock based on a character size and character archetype that you would normally believe they fall in. There's technically no archetypes. It's just the archetypes actually belong into the karts and the parts that you pick. And your character, you can, this allows you to play just about anybody in any style that you choose, just as long as you build it around them and get that get those stats the way you want them by using whatever card combo, which is cool, because that's a problem that Mario Kart has, where you may like this character, but their certain stats may lock them up into a certain demographic of archetype, and you may not like playing as that character because how different they feel. This game, you have tons of ways to kind of mitigate that, and just enjoy playing whoever you want to play. So props to here for that. And so I think I can move on a little bit and talk about another negative that I picked up on. And this one's kind of like a bigger negative, so I might go on a tangent for a little bit here. But the transformations didn't really feel... They felt strangely... What's the word I want to look for? Because I'm trying to put this into exact terms. They didn't feel like impactful or important, in my opinion. They almost felt like mini games in a way. Okay, I remember how I put this. So, as some of you may know, Sonic and SEGA All-Stars Racing Transformed is my favorite kart racer of all time for a multitude of reasons, but I really do think in that game they nail the boats and the plane sections and the controls really, really well. And here, they tried to do something different, which I can always, admire, even though honestly, I feel like they found a formula and should not have, tried to break said formula. If it ain't broke, don't fix. But here the issue is that thing that I brought up about controls earlier is extra felt here. In CrossWorlds, whenever I was talking about, how the cards, some things feel far too stiff, some things feel far too loose. Well, planes and boat transformations in this game are nothing but stiff. And even on top of that stiffness, the way you work around that stiffness is by doing drifts, but the drifts are like kind of relegated to some type of mini game, if you will, to where you hold it as long as possible, you set yourself in position as best as possible to hold that boost as long as possible, or that drift to get the best boost as possible. But that kind of takes away from, again, the design of the flight section or the design of the boat sections, and it just kind of turns them into like tiny little mini games that take away from actual driving skill and just like, how good can you spam a boost? How good can you spam and hold that drift and all that type of stuff? And like I said, I just miss, it just kind of took away the uniqueness of the like planes sections and the boating section. They don't feel unique from one another. They just kind of feel like they're almost interrupting the normal flow of the game that is, driving. And again, they're not entirely bad sections. I had fun kind of, going through them, but I can say with as they are now, super heavily dependent on just boosting and drifting and building boosts and all that type of stuff, I can't say like I like them all that much at the moment. So let's bounce back to another positive. I'm just making this like a therapeutic sandwich, if you will. Another positive on this game, though, is the CrossWorlds. This concept of going through courses and drifting, or not going through courses that change after each lap. Well, the first lap is completely on the first track. Second track, turns into a different world. I think it's nailed perfectly. I know what they're going for here, and it feels amazing. Like, you never really feel disjointed by it. And it keeps things fresh and new. Like I said, there was only like 5 courses I think that we could choose for them, and like 5 or 4 different CrossWorlds we can go to. And with just that combination alone, granted, I only got a couple. I only played for basically a day and a half out of the 3 days of the beta because I was busy. Boy's birthday party, had to, children come first, of course. But in that time frame, I don't really recall playing the same race entirely twice, you know? And even if I may have gotten the same course and the same CrossWorld track, sometimes a frenzy would happen that would switch that up too, you know? And that would make it different to where boost pads are spawning, or you get auto full boost during your drift or something like that. So it always kept it fresh and new and interesting and engaging, which I think added to the fun factor of this game a whole ton. So that was always cool. And again, like another strong aspect of this game has so much character to itself. These gears, putting all these gadgets onto your driver's license, the more you race, the more of these slots you unlock to change how your car performs and how what your strategy is during a race. These actually matter. These are really strong. These are really good. I know I used the low ring count at high speed and the bump to get boosted a lot, because those felt really good. Those seemed like they were, really strong and really powerful. And another one, like the trick system, if you want the quick tricks, they're stuck to these licenses and stuff like that. Again, a really smart and in-depth system just to kind of customize and make it more your own. This game is really a lot about making it your own, which I can always respect. I love customization. Like, it doesn't need to be a thing for me to have a good time, but the option is always nice. I always say the option is always nice. And if you want customization, you can customize things from, again, in gadgets alone, what type of items you get, how fast your tricks go, your slipstream distance, your drift, and your drift level. All those things customizable in gadgets alone. And then there goes your vehicle customization as well, where you get different parts that you can put on your different vehicles. Now, granted, you can't interchange vehicles and their designated field types. So if you got a speed vehicle, you can't throw an acceleration vehicle part on that yet. From what I know, like in the game, it seemed like we were just kind of locked to speed vehicle and speed vehicle things that we can put on our speed vehicles. So that may change, that may not, but I mean, it's already kind of in-depth enough, and we only had like 4 different parts to choose from in the beta alone, and there are so many different combinations and things that people were making with their characters and whatnot. So it, I was already having fun with what we just had, and it can seem a little bit overwhelming, but you honestly just got to take it one step at a time. But it was very good. In my opinion, this is another great aspect of the game. Again, the customizations and what you can do to make your character your own and change up the way they play. Fantastic. I spent a really long time in kart customization. You're not going to see my customized karts, at least the good ones here in this video, because this is just going to be footage of my first day. But got about 2 more videos on the rollout for y'all covering more Sonic CrossWorlds gameplay. So, with that being said, though, again, I was just kind of going through trying to see, what vehicle customizations can be done, what modifications can be done with different characters and different stats and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, if you're concerned about kart customization in any way, shape, or form, it goes really deep. I did unlock stickers on my final day, but I didn't do any kart customizations with them. But yeah, you can change things from the color of the vehicle. You can change things from the materials of said color to make it even more shiny, less shiny, matted, rubber. You had all these different things. And all that type of stuff is really fun. Have some great selection of colors once you do unlock the customized color palette. And so, yeah, no, just some great, fun stuff. Alright, and while I'm here, I'm going to go over another thing that I kind of didn't necessarily mess with too much on the game, or something that felt a little bit weird gameplay-wise as well, was the fact that boosting kind of didn't really feel as impactful as I thought it would be. You would think like racing through the game and all that type of stuff that the boost would matter. It kind of didn't. I don't know if the cart's base speed was too high, or if the boost that you get was too low, or if that's also like very, very character dependent. But it didn't never really felt like boosting gave you that big of an advantage or made that big of a difference, or getting a full drift made that big of a difference, or even like boosting through shortcuts, boost necessary shortcuts almost didn't feel like they made that big of a difference, because like it's, again, I think something is just turned up a little bit too high. Again, either the boost that you do get, because you can set it up to where you can almost get constant boost depending on how your how your cart and your gadget system is made, or either the base speed of carts in general are far too high. I just never felt like I separated from the pack by doing either good close drifts, getting those full boost, or doing boosted shortcuts. So one other thing that kind of felt weird. But contrary to that, items, good. I mean, I never really had issues with items. I never had an item feel like I got effed over. Although some items, I feel like maybe some invincibility frames is due, because I did see like some people get hella screwed over by, they get hit with a glove, and then a rocket, and then they get their car sawed in half, and it just like kind of happened back to back to back. So maybe some iframes would be good to prevent that from happening as often. But I can't say there was an item that I can think of off the top of my head that I was like, this one is bullshit, they need to get rid of it, this shit sucks and sucks the fun out of everything. No, so the item balance right now is actually fairly decent. So props off to them, because that's, I know, something that these car racers can either, make or break you. And it's usually in the break category, because they try to go too hard in the Mario Kart department. And you know what? Speaking of, actually, before I get to that Mario Kart department, I just want to say kind of my still overall thoughts on what I did play. I want to elaborate a little bit more on what I said at the beginning. And again, despite, the problems that I did have with the game, one more plus real quick is that online was pretty good. Online was pretty good, from my opinion. I didn't have any interruptions or skipping or all that other type of stuff. I only got disconnected like 4 times out of the days that I played. But again, it's a network beta test, so that was bound to happen. And in fact, it only happened 4 times. Not bad in my book. But yeah, the biggest takeaway from this game, though, like even as is, even with those things that I really didn't, kind of fuck with like that, and think could be changed, the game was still really, really fun. Like some of the most fun I've had in a racing game in, God, a really long time. And again, it felt unique playing through. It felt unique going through the gadget system, customizing. All of it felt unique and its own thing. And it's, again, fun, engaging. It's different all the time. Again, I don't remember playing the same stage combinations twice in a row. And if I did that, or not even twice in a row, but twice. And if I did, it was always something different about that particular race that just, kept it all fresh and new. So that's like, I think the biggest strong suit of this game is it is just fresh fun. This is like the most arcadey ass racer that Sega has released in forever, except for it's not in the arcade, it's at your house, and it's almost addictive in a really strange way. This game is super addicting. Excuse me. So to elaborate a little bit more on that point of its, because the popular discourse is this game is the next Mario Kart killer and we need a Mario. Look, like, let's all be real and honest, because I hate this argument so much, is that Mario Kart's not gonna have a killer, okay? Like, it's Mario Kart. That would be like trying to say, Mortal Kombat's gonna have a killer. No, the only thing that's gonna kill Mortal Kombat is itself, as we can see with MK1. But yeah, like, no game is gonna replace Mario Kart, because it's Mario Kart. Like, it's gonna do its it's gonna do its rounds. It's gonna be a banger. Nintendo hardly drops the ball there. there's not going to be a Mario Kart killer ever in our life. But I see that as this game not being a Mario Kart killer actually a great thing. And that reason is because now, people like to pretend that things just can't fucking coexist for some reason. In my opinion, this has me even more excited for this game because it's not a Mario Kart killer. It feels like a Mario Kart cousin in a way. Like, that sounds weird. I don't know how weird that sounds, but like when I'm truly thinking about this game in comparison to even Mario Kart 8 or what Mario Kart 9 could ever be, I can already tell that there are reasons that I'm going to come back to this game and play it, and there are reasons that I'm going to play Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 9 whenever it releases, because this game has differentiated itself enough in such a fun, in its own way, fantastical corner that I'm just like, yeah, this shit is it. Mario Kart is it. This shit can be it too. And it actually has me really excited as somebody who loves kart racers to just have like two different environments that I'm gonna potentially be able to just go around and play. Like, if I'm telling you right now, especially with the history of Mario Karts, it's more of a kind of a laid back experience. Like, even high ranked Mario Kart 8 is still more laid back and everything like that compared to most other kart races and stuff like that. So if that's the type of experience that I am looking for, then I'll go play Mario Kart. But if I want something a little bit more in depth, a little bit more customizable, a little bit more kind of dumb fun, because this game is a little bit dumb fun. There's some tomfuckery happening in this game, I can't lie to you, but that's half the charm. Then I'm gonna come play Sonic CrossWorlds, and that has me, again, extremely stoked as somebody who just loves kart races in general, that this game is not aiming to be a Mario Kart killer or a Mario Kart clone in any way, shape, or form. This is very much its own thing. It's fresh, it's new. Its whole identity is to be fresh, new, and for you to decide on how you want to play it. And that's just, like, sick as hell. I mean, as a, again, as a fan of these types of games, there's not really much more you can ask for than to have, like, two sides of the same coin. This is literally the definition of having your cake and eating it too, and being able to decide which cake that you want to eat and have. So, again, all that drama and discourse about Mario Kart killers, lack thereof, or their need to be for some reason, shit doesn't exist. Like, Mario Kart doesn't need to die. Sonic CrossWorlds doesn't need to be a Mario Kart killer. These two are such different games and experiences that they both have their own values that I know is going to bring into the gaming industry, or at least the kart racing industry. Like, I told my boy, who I was talking to, a little bit about my review earlier. I was like, honestly, CrossWorlds right now could release as is in what they have in stone and still be a perfectly fine game. The nitpicks that I have, again, they exist. There weren't anything that I couldn't live with, or anything I can't live, though, without or with. Like, again, I got used to it, I got used to controls eventually, and again, had the most fun that I ever had playing a kart racer in quite some time. So those nitpicks that I do have, or rather, those issues that I do have with the game, not as major in my head. They could completely release this game as is right now, and I think it'd be a fucking swell of a time. And of course, that's just, again, with the characters that we had available to us, which I think was only a quarter of the roster, if that. And we don't know how many stages they have, but they have more stages too, and more customization options. So, all in all, to wrap up though, this, again, ton of fun. Can't wait to see what Sega has in store for us a little bit later on. So y'all, please look forward to my other two videos going over CrossWorlds. And yeah, that's about all I got to say. It was a fun experience. Thank you for the opportunity, Sega. And y'all, have yourselves a good one.